Howdy, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Sorry that we've been missing each other. I've had quite the exciting last week, mostly because I've had my wife's birthday. I've gotten sick, my kids have gotten sick, and I just have not been able to find the time to stop missing you guys and get a chance to come down here and talk to you. But, makes it pretty easy that it's good timing for me to talk to you about what I wanted to talk to you guys. So we're getting to that point where the New Year excitement is over. We're now starting to get into that grind, and we're having to really push through. But some of us are having a hard time with that, and we're feeling behind. And that's who I want to talk to. Whether you're a student, athlete, parent, or just somebody who's had great goals going into the year and you were making progress, or maybe you aren't feeling that progress, and you're feeling behind. And it's not because you're failing. It's not because you want to quit. You just feel behind. Behind where you thought you'd be, behind where someone else seems to be, behind the timeline that you imagined for yourself. I want to say this clearly and straight up to you guys. You're not behind. This feeling, most of the time, it comes from, not from the effort that we're putting in. It comes from comparison. You notice who's faster, who's more confident, who's getting it or understanding it quicker than you are, and quietly you're measuring yourself against a version of progress that was never yours to begin with. And I promise you, that's not awareness. That's just pressure. Many times you're going to see this happen in your life, regardless of whether you're a student or you're an athlete or a parent. You're going to compare your kids or yourself to so many other people out there because we live in this digital world. We can go out and spend a minute searching through something. We're going to find something and we're going to see ourselves in it. And we're either going to be thinking, oh man, I'm way behind, or anything of the sort. So being a coach, I get the opportunity to see my athletes and my students compare themselves immediately to either past groups, their past times, anything that's going on. And so they start having doubts. They start wondering, am I doing what's right? Am I good enough? Should I be doing something else? Do I need to be doing more? And so they get anxious. Or they start to think that they need to quit, and that's not exactly what they need to do. But I promise you, this feeling doesn't mean that you are actually behind. It just means that you very much care about yourself. And so the truth has absolutely everything to do with progress not being a straight line. Progress is not clean, it's not even, and it's rarely visible while it's happening. Some people grow early, and some people grow quietly, and some just take longer to grow, and it's a deeper growth. Different doesn't mean worse. You don't need to catch up. You don't need to rush. You don't need to panic. You just need time. You need consistency. You need someone to remind you that real learning, is uncomfortable. If you're going to make progress, it's not going to feel nice. It will either hurt or you're going to struggle. It means you're doing something new. That's what it's going to feel like. Don't run away from the pain. Not in this case, at least. And I promise you, if you keep showing up, you're going to be able to conquer a lot more. With my athletes, obviously, it's going to be, if we keep going, we're going to be able to do all these different runs and all these different paces. We're going to be successful in different seasons, but we're ultimately always going to have the same destination, and that's becoming better as a person. That's what we're all in this for. Being better today than we were yesterday. Better tomorrow than today. That's where we want to end up. Just because we're sore or we're tired or worn out does not mean that we're worse off. Just because we're broken down doesn't mean that we're not good. I tell my athletes all the time, I'm absolutely breaking you up. I'm destroying you. Of course, in the end, I'm going to put you back together because that's the goal. So we need to reframe the way we think about that. We're behind compared to who? Someone with a different background? Somebody who has different support? Somebody who's on a different timeline than us? That's not a fair race. And we were not meant to run like that or live like that. Our job isn't to win someone else's timeline. Our job is to stay in ours and to win ours. And we are almost always going to win it as long as we don't quit. So if you're a student listening to this and you're wondering if you're late, you're not. You're still learning, you're still growing, and you're still becoming. So I need you to keep showing up. I need you to keep asking questions, keep trusting the work, even when it feels like there's no progress at all. Because you're not behind. You're right where you need to be. Many times we're going to see all these success stories that come from these wonderful athletes that we see performing out on that Olympic stage right now in the Winter Olympics. We're also going to see these heart-wrenching defeats. What I advise you guys to do is take the moment to look at these athletes' backgrounds, not the ones that have just an easygoing story, because most of them don't. But the most exciting ones are going to be the ones who had to work really hard, who had a setback. They made themselves the hero of their own story. And that's because the hero's journey is never supposed to be an easy one. So if your journey right now is easy, you need to flip the script, man. You need to find a way to make it so that it's harder for you. Now, I'm not saying don't go to bed, don't go to sleep. All I'm saying, if it's easy for you, start doing a little bit more. See what you can do to make it so that you can progress more. Because the hero's journey, it's got to hurt. The more that it hurts, the more it's going to be worth it. Keep in mind the right type of pain that it needs to be. And I promise you, if you do that, you're going to be able to run free, run fierce, and run wild.